Seeing animals dropped off at county-run shelters is like watching prisoners admitted to death camps.
Come on, sweetie.
Not much hope of ever getting out alive. Dogs and cats are dropped off at this shelter by the thousands each month. Shelter employees make a quick assessment of the animal's health, a photo ID, and a kennel number is assigned, and off it goes to await an undetermined future. Shelters have become landfills for discarded animals. Nationwide, it is estimated that up to 12 million dogs and cats are abandoned each year. Sadly, at least 70% are euthanized. Many because shelters don't offer aggressive health care programs. They need help. The School of Veterinary Medicine at UC Davis has taken steps to provide health care to shelters so that more dogs and cats can survive and eventually be adopted. What shelters desperately need are animal doctors willing to work in rugged environments. Dr. Kate Hurley visits dozens of these places as director of the UC Davis Shelter Medicine Program.
At a shelter like this, it's an incredibly challenging situation for a veterinarian. I really think battlefield medicine is a good metaphor for it. You have hundreds of animals here. They're sick, they're stressed, they're coming in with maybe no medical care in their lives. And the veterinarian is trying to respond to all that, take care of them with very few resources.
The vet school at UC Davis recognized that there were unique problems with shelters like infectious diseases and behavior problems associated with long-term confinement. Veterinarians really didn't understand these inhospitable environments. Dr. Niels Peterson, director of companion animal health at UC Davis, knew that these challenges needed to be met.
Most of our small animal students are prepared to deal with the single sick animal that belongs to an owner. They're not prepared to deal with disease outbreaks that occur in these large multiple animal facilities. And so, given the importance of increasing importance of shelters and the fact that now maybe as many as a fourth of our animals for pets are obtained from shelters, we thought that the time had come for us to get involved.
So UC Davis has made a commitment to shelter medicine. Between endless rows of concrete and wire kennels, Dr. Cindy Delaney moves swiftly, treating dogs and cats who have just been deposited at the shelter. Some have been hit by cars or abused by their owners, or just plain sick. Most shelters don't have an on-site veterinarian. This shelter is one of the fortunate ones. Delaney works 12-hour days.
There's days that are bad and days that are good, but I come to work every day because I know that I will help an animal that day and probably many animals that day. And I know that if I don't go in, those animals may die just because I didn't come to work.
Infectious disease control is the biggest issue most shelters face. With dozens of animals living in cramped quarters, upper respiratory ailments are common. Hurley provides the animal care staff with medical information to wage the massive battle of keeping large animal populations healthy.
Well, what we're finding with our research is that in these cases that just persist and they've been on a couple different antibiotics, most often it's actually a virus that's causing the sign.
Hurley provides information on the most effective way to deal with diseases at animal control facilities. UC Davis also accepts disease specimens from shelters around the country.
Infectious disease is a huge problem in shelters across the country. One of the things that's really exciting about this program is the fact that this lab has been dedicated solely to understanding those problems.
Shelters are helped immeasurably by the lab's sophisticated techniques to identify the disease quickly. UC Davis is urging shelters to hire on-site doctors.
Before I came here, this shelter had no veterinarian at all, so in general, animals that were sick were euthanized, regardless of how adoptable they were, and animals that were injured were euthanized even if they could have been treated because there was no staff for that. So UC Davis got a veterinarian at this facility, and they've also worked with us to identify the problems that we have here as far as infectious disease, how best to control it, putting in place cleaning protocols and things like that, and also they're helping us with the behavior aspect of the shelter as far as identifying behavior problems in animals and assessing which animals are adoption candidates.
Not all shelters have the same standards for temperament testing. UC Davis's Sheila Sigerson is working to develop such standards so that animals can be judged uniformly.
So what I recommend is that shelters learn how to evaluate dogs. Shelters learn how to do a standardized test so that everybody is doing the test the same way. And when they have dogs who are obviously very fearful and obviously displaying signs of stress, we take steps to decide whether it is appropriate to put that dog in a foster home or in another place where that dog will have a better chance of finding a home.
This UC Davis shelter medicine program is making an impact.
It gives us a baseline of what we should be doing out there. Before this program was available, shelters were just, cleaning different ways. They didn't know about disease control. There was no standard. Obviously, making them healthier makes them more adoptable. It does save lives daily.
Claire Bout says that shelters need to be welcoming to the public, the employees, and volunteers. Then, she says, we will begin to see euthanasia rates go down and adoptions go up. The nonprofit Animal Rescue Foundation, or ARF, has become what most shelters are not, a beautiful facility for dogs and cats in Walnut Creek, California.
How are you guys doing today? Are you coming in to look at a dog or a cat?
Animals live in cozy glass condos where they are displayed to potential adopters. This foundation has a no-kill philosophy, which means that all animals are adopted. The veterinarian, for example, has a large surgical suite to perform operations.
The main difference is that once the animal comes here, we have a commitment to them to get them well, unless, if they're really not getting better or have an incurable disease. So I think that's the problem at local shelters. They have, if they're not better in 2 weeks, sometimes they get put to sleep.
Terry Taylor and her daughter were shopping for a cat and were amazed at how nice this shelter looked.
This place is just incredible. It's clean, and my feeling was that we'd get a healthier pet here than at the pound.
This shelter also provides an education center so kids can learn to care for their newly adopted pets.
It's very important that you give your dogs a rabies shot so they don't get rabies.
The foundation's director says all shelters have much to learn from the UC Davis program.
It's herd medicine. So now with this partnership with Davis, I think we're learning how to take better care of the animals, we're taking better care, and we're having reasonable expectations from the veterinary community.
Dr. Hurley says learning how to make shelter life more comfortable for the animals remains the goal.
I'll be honest, I love this work. I don't do it because I'm noble. I do it because I'm a vet because I want to make a difference. I want to save lives. And as sad as it is that an animal might lose its life because of something as simple as a cold, it's really great when you can save an animal's life just by treating its cold, just by clearing up its ear mites or cleaning its teeth. And when we get into the shelter medicine program, there's 10 million animals a year in shelters in the United States. If we make a difference to even 1% of those animals, that's 10,000 lives that we've touched with this program.
To offset the images of dogs and cats not taken, Hurley says to focus on the increasing numbers that have been rescued.
We're gonna name him Dewey.
Paul Fotenauer reporting in Davis.